Moin and welcome. First and foremost, of course, my dear students from STB. God, I miss you guys. But also everyone else who happened to stumble across this video. I'm doing it in English because, it's easier that way. Most of you speak English. And for the others, excusez-moi, mais je ne parle pas français. I know how hard it is right now for you to study, let alone German grammar. Hell, I know it's not easy even under perfect conditions, which, again, are not given at the moment, unfortunately. You all are on very different levels of learning German, but at least for my students, I think it's safe to assume that you forgot what at least seems to be almost everything. But don't you worry, it'll come back to you. So, this is just a refresher. We start with the basics and go over them once more. And soon enough we will be back to normal lectures, so God will. So, where shall we begin? Some general things about the German language. Well, there we already have our first problem. There is no the German language. What we learn in school and what's mostly spoken on TV and radio is not the one proper German, and everything else spoken is derived from that. The very opposite is true, in fact. You see, back in the day, let's not get too pedantic over numbers, let's just say in the past there was no Germany. There were lots of sometimes very small German countries, and there were even more German languages. It's a bit like this. Have a look at this. This is the distribution area of the Fula language. Today people in 20 countries speak Fula as a first or second language. But do they? What if we want to translate a book into Fula? Turns out it's not that easy. Take the Bible for example. When you translate it into Fula as it is spoken in Senegal, people from Cameroon won't understand everything. And you want them to understand it all, don't you? There are now 9 different translations of the Bible for people who speak Fula. There's one in Pulaar for Senegambia and Pula for Guinea and Sierra Leone. In Benin and Togo there's a Borgo Fulfulde one. In Cameroon and Chad there's one in Adamawa Fulfulde, and so on. Now imagine what would happen if all Fula people formed their own big country. I'm not saying they should. Don't get any ideas, it's just an example. So let's completely ignore the political implications and only focus on the language. Now, what would be the official language of Fula land? Fula, of course, but which one? You have to basically create a mixture of Fula languages so that everyone can understand it. No language is completely logical, but it has inherent structures. But when you mix them together, you end up with something that is quite complicated and sometimes outright illogical, but necessary for understanding. And what good is having the same language when you can't understand each other? So imagine 20 countries, 9 different varieties. As a German, I can only say, cute. Try 200 and then we're talking. See, that's the reason the grammar makes no sense sometimes and why you understand the principle and still make mistakes. That's why you hear words and phrases that you will never find in a textbook. An example, in standard German, door is Tür. Here, they say dir. Here, they say der. Germany, the one unified country, is still relatively young. Unlike French or Polish people, Germans are, in lack of a better word, still very tribal. The local language, habits, customs, the food, it will vary a lot depending of where in Germany you are. And don't think we hadn't had our fair share in tribal warfare, and if you count football, it's still going on. Do you have to know all this to learn German? Well, it certainly helps. It's always good to understand the people when you want to understand their language. And our language is our identity. It's an important matter. That being said, never be afraid to make mistakes. Give it your best and try. Usually we are more than willing to help. A smile gets you further than any grammar rules. That being said, the grammar rules! For today, we'll keep it simple, promise. there are 3 golden rules. 1. There has to be an article. Always. There are many variations of articles, but using none is worse than using the wrong one. 2. There's always a verb, and it's at the second and or last position in a sentence. If you keep that in mind, there are more correct ways to form a sentence than wrong ones. And 3. Never disobey the rules. And with that, congratulations, you just learned the most important part of German. The rest is easy. And that's it for now. You've done very well. Next time I tell you about articles and after that, verbs. Stay safe out there.